Very frequently, you will hear me talk about the foundations of our emotional intelligence. Why is that? Well, if we don't have a strong foundation for anything, we can't really build much on top of it. So at the foundation of our emotional intelligence is our emotional self-awareness, our capacity to pay attention to not just the fact that we're experiencing an emotion, but what's contributing to the experience of that emotion. How do we actually create our emotions? And we create them by ingredients that we put in a recipe. And then we have the outcome that impacts our thoughts and our behaviors or our choices. That impact then will influence and impact the people around us. We can often think about this as an iceberg. We have above the water experiences, what we can see of the iceberg, and this is generally going to be our behaviors and our choices. And then we have the below the iceberg, all of the things that we can't see. These are the ingredients. These are the ingredients and sometimes even the recipe. And what we find in our own self-awareness exploration is we find things like our values, and we find things like our beliefs and our past experiences and our interpretations or assumptions of the world and how we judge and the filter at which we look at things and our biases. So there's a lot of things that get packed into below the iceberg. Radical personal responsibility is claiming that we are the ones that create our emotional experience that drives the above the water part of the iceberg, the action, the behavior. Responsibility for ourselves in our emotional self-awareness lies in the introspection and the internal work and the reflection on the ingredients and the recipe. And once we figure this out, we increase our impulse control. Once we figure out what's driving the above the iceberg, we improve our capacity for self-mastery to create space between the stimulus and the response, because we get much better at seeing it before it becomes a response. And when we get better at seeing it coming, because we know what's contributing to how we're feeling, then we can insert strategies that disrupt the above the iceberg response. And instead of rubbing other people the wrong way, we end up self-mastering our emotions and keeping our intellect turned on. Now, this is how we get to this statement: EQ often matters more than IQ. When we create the self-mastery skills that disrupt toxic behaviors, what we're essentially doing is inserting strategies that keep our intellect turned on. And that is only because we have utilized our EQ to interrupt the negativity of the emotion.